Welcome to Calm Sleepy Tales, and thank you for joining me. Tonight's tale, The Listening Boots of Widdersham, is based on the rich character of Fenwick Tole and the cosy charm of Widdersham. This is a whimsical story centred around heel and hide, its enigmatic cobbler, Mr. Fenwick Tole, and the quiet magic that keeps the town walking true. First, let's begin by letting go of the day and enjoy this moment of stillness. Find a comfortable position, let your head rest, and close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in and gently exhale. With each breath, imagine the air around you becoming softer, warmer, more peaceful. As you breathe, feel the tension in your jaw, your forehead, and your back begin to melt away. Let your hands rest. Let your feet soften. Feel your body begin to relax. Your shoulders, your arms, your legs, slowly becoming heavier, as if they're sinking gently into the bed beneath you. Imagine the worries of the day slowly dissolving, like mist in the morning sunlight, drifting away, leaving only peace behind. You are safe. You are warm. You are exactly where you need to be. Let yourself surrender to this comfort. And when you're ready, we'll begin tonight's story. The scent of pine tar and beeswax drifted like a secret through the door of heel and hide, curling into the morning mist of Widdersham's cobbled high street. Inside, Mr. Fenwick Tole sat hunched over a worn pair of boots that had seen too many winters and not enough rest. He didn't hum. Fenwick never hummed. But if one listened closely enough, they might notice that the rhythmic push of his awl through leather and the tap-tap of his hammer made a kind of music all of its own. A slow, steady tune of patience and mending. At precisely 9 o'clock, the bell above the door tinkled, a gentle chime made from old shoelace aglets, each one from a shoe that had carried someone somewhere important. A small boy with a satchel full of pebbles and a scarf across his left knee stood in the doorway. "Morning, Mr. Tole," said the boy, holding up a worn sneaker. Fenwick glanced at the fraying laces, then at the boy's eyes. "Loose heel, but a bold toe," he muttered. "Been climbing where you shouldn't." The boy grinned. "Roof of the post office. Saw a kestrel." Fenwick took the shoe and nodded once. 5 minutes. There's plum scones next door. You'll smell 'em before they arrive." As the boy left, Fenwick slid the sneaker onto his last and began stitching with his quiet precision. As always, when working on children's shoes, he asked for no coin. Instead, he waited. 5 minutes later, the boy returned with a drawing of a kestrel perched on a crooked chimney and a boy with wind-blown hair beneath it. Fenwick pinned the sketch beside dozens like it on the corkboard behind the counter. Some were ancient, curling at the edges. Others looked freshly inked. All were dear to him. Each autumn, just after the first curl of wood smoke wound through Widdersham's chimneys, something curious happened at Heel and Hyde. Fenwick would close the shop for exactly 2 days. During those 48 hours, the windows would be steamed with secrecy. The bell over the door remained eerily silent, and no one was permitted inside. Then, on the morning of the 3rd day, a small sign would appear in the window. Listening boots now available. Sizes, honest 3 to humble 11. The townsfolk never quite knew how many boots were made, or what defined a humble 11. But those who needed them most always seemed to get a pair. Some swore the boots allowed you to hear old roots dreaming deep underground. Others claimed they once stood atop Moor's Hill and heard the distant thunder of long-forgotten hooves. One boy said the boots let him hear his grandmother's lullabies in the rustling leaves, though she'd been gone 10 years. Fenwick, of course, never said a word. He simply nodded as each customer tried on their pair, gave a single, satisfied and sent them on their way. This year, however, something strange happened. The boots were late. It was already mid-September, and Widdersham's trees were all but bare. Children whispered about it over jam tarts. Adults tried not to look concerned. Even Merrin Hemslow of Tilly and Stitch quietly muttered into her bobbin basket, "He's never been late before." At last, the door to Heel and Hyde opened on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Fenwick emerged, boot box in hand. He walked, not to his shop window, but to the Misty Teacup Tearoom next door. There, seated Seated near the hearth, with a plum scone and a half-knitted scarf, sat Tansy Nettle from the greengrocer's, Hazel nibbing at her side. Fenwick said nothing. He merely set the box down on their table. Hazel peered into the box. Inside were 2 boots, sturdy, well stitched, polished to a deep nut brown gleam, but no shimmer, no hum, no feeling. They won't listen, Fenwick said softly. Tansy frowned. You tried compost tea on them? 3 times, Fenwick replied. Hazel leaned over, peeking at the sole. Did the stitch catch? Fenwick shook his head. I used the thread, the needle, the scroll. Nothing. Tansy sipped her tea, gaze distant. Then maybe they're not ready to listen, because someone else isn't ready to speak. That evening, Fenwick returned to his shop and unrolled the leather scroll that hung from his wall. Ink moved across it like water, shifting shapes and glyphs deepening on the wind outside. Tonight, it formed something he hadn't seen before. A footprint, large, heavy, but not recent. The scroll shimmered faintly. Then the footprint split into 2, side by side. Then 3. A path. Fenwick's grey-green eyes narrowed. He grabbed his satchel and the box of quiet boots and left heel and hide without a word, locking the door behind him. He walked the path the scroll had shown, out past Thimble Alley, where the cobblestones whispered and sighed beneath his steps. He reached the edge of town, where the forest pressed close, and the air smelled of loam and thyme. There, in the hush of evening, he heard it, a thudding, uneven sound, like boots dragging through wet leaves. From the trees emerged an old man, bent with age, wearing a cloak that seemed too heavy for his frame. Fenwick? The man rasped. Fenwick nodded. Thought you might come. They don't speak anymore, the man said, tapping the worn boots on his feet. They used to whisper stories, you know, of rivers and journeys. Now, silence. Fenwick knelt, removed the man's boots. Inside, hidden in the insole, was a slip of parchment, nearly dissolved by sweat and years. He unfolded it carefully. A child's drawing, a kestrel on a crooked chimney. The old man wept. "That was mine," he whispered. "You fixed my sneakers once. I climbed the post office." Fenwick said nothing. He only took the new boots from the box and held them out. "They're listening," he said softly, "but they need your story." The next morning, the boots returned to the window of heel and hide, shimmering, buzzing faintly with something that felt like music under the skin. By midday, they were all gone, traded, bartered, gifted to those who needed them most. That night, the town of Widdersham slept soundly. Most didn't notice the quiet change in the cobblestones, or how their own footsteps felt lighter somehow. But one girl did. She was 6, with freckles and a skipping rope. She tugged her mother's hand and whispered, "The ground told me a joke." Her mother smiled bemused. But from inside heel and hide, Fenwick Tole smiled too. Not at the joke, he hadn't heard it, but at the sound of well-loved boots on cobblestones. Much later, as mist curled over Widdersham's rooftops and the stars blinked low and warm, Fenwick sat by his small hearth, polishing a new pair of boots. He paused, lifted his head. From somewhere deep beneath the floorboards, there came a soft murmur, the voice of a road long walked, yet still ready. He nodded and began stitching, because in Widdersham, some boots weren't made for walking, they were made for listening.